Hey, good morning. It is Dina Krogadal, your American Dream Makers host. I want to say welcome, welcome, welcome to American Dream Makers. I have a fantastic guest this morning and had a little bit of technical issues. So apologize that we're getting on just a little bit late, but here we are and it's going to be amazing. So stay tuned. Here we go. I'm going to play my intro video and we'll get our guest right on. Good morning. It is Dina Krogadal on this beautiful Wednesday morning, and this is the American Dream Maker Show. I do believe that the American dream belongs to all of us. Not only can you achieve it, but you can go beyond. Our next guest absolutely is living the American dream, and she absolutely is helping others to obtain the American dream as well. Her name is Rebecca Black, and she is a mover and a shaker and doing all fantastic things. So let's get her on to this stage and let's have a chat with Miss Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca.
Hello, Miss Zena. Fancy seeing you again this morning.
Yes, fancy, fancy. I love that we can connect and not live in the area. Like that is the thing that I guess since COVID, it has made it so much easier to connect with people all over the place. Um, when we look at the positive things that have happened, and that is definitely one of them, that it's much more accessible, that we can reach friends all around the world. Rebecca, I am so glad that you're here because you live in Florida.
I
Is
do.
it
And listen,
is it
it's a
sunny?
little chilly here. It's a little chilly here, not anywhere near as cold as some of the other parts of the world. I shared to my Instagram story yesterday, someone in Texas, and the hair industry is my background, and so one of the professional pages that I follow, there was some lady from Texas. They essentially had like towel dried hair, so hair that was almost dry but it still had a little bit of moisture in it. They got all bundled up, went outside, and like turned their hair upside down and froze it straight up. It was so funny. And so it's nowhere near that cold here. However, it is a little chilly for the Sunshine State, and I'm on the East Coast. It is sunny, it is clear, it is bright, it is cool, and I'm just thankful to be here. And I'm thankful to be on American Dream Makers this morning. And I'm even more excited about what you and I were just finishing up talking about on another Zoom cast, the power of connection for sure. Zoom opened up so many avenues for so many people during the pandemic. Like you said, here we were, like now we're stuck in our homes. And I think Zoom and StreamYard and all of the video platforms, they just really exploded during that time. And so it's amazing that we're able to connect. I'm in Florida, and Zena, you are in.
Prescott, Arizona. So, and today it is sunny, but it is chilly.
Mm.
Uh, and we actually had snow here just a few days ago. I actually missed it because I was in North Carolina, but it actually snows where I live, and I love the snow. So anyway,
Wow.
it's
I love it. And it's
it,
so funny because I've always pronounced it Prescott, Arizona, but I am from the South, so we don't say everything correctly. So it's Prescott.
it's Prescott for the locals. They all say Prescott, so they would just know that you're not from here if you said Prescott.
Yes,
But yeah, it's I guess it's one of those, like, I feel like a lot of towns have that, right? Like Lancaster isn't
sure.
really Lancaster, and
Yes.
Louisville is actually Louisville, that sort of thing, right? So if you don't say it correctly, like, oh yeah, you're not from here. But other than
Yes, like
that, it's
Kissimmee.
all
Yes, Kissimmee here on the East Coast near Disney World. A lot of people stay there, and you can tell if they are visiting from out of town because they always call it Kissimmee. Kiss it me. And it's like, no, it's Kissimmee. Kissimmee.
yeah. So yeah, so I guess when you're traveling, the nice thing too is that you can probably look this stuff up and do the audio, and maybe prepare yourself so that maybe you don't look like such a foreigner
Hey,
entering
that's
town.
a good idea. I like
you
it.
know.
Like I do sometimes look up how to enunciate words that I may not have ever been exposed to. So I will like proper enunciation of whatever this word is. So we might have to do that next time we go into a town, make sure that we are saying it correctly. I like that idea. Thank you for that,
Yeah.
Zena.
Well, the mastering of the mind. Sometimes ideas pop up and you don't even know where they come from. But hey, that's the fun part. So, speaking of mastering of the minds, I know you've got you've got a lot going on, Miss Rebecca. I know you are a businesswoman, and you've got your own skin line products. Also know you belong to some great mastermind groups. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and those things that are going on in your life, and why we absolutely should consider even being a part of a mastermind if we're not already.
You know what, Zena? I love that. I love that question. Why should we be part of a mastermind if we're not part of one already? And there is nothing that I have achieved in my career, personally, professionally, in life in general, without the help of a core group of people, some type of mentor. Everybody needs a mentor. You need a mentor, you need a coach, you need a guidance counselor, you need something because we all have what our mutual friend, Mr. Tim Story, calls blind spots. And blind spots are kind of those things that they're almost like holes in what you're doing, how you're thinking, how you're proceeding that may be keeping you stuck. And so if you don't ever expose yourself to people who have overcome those things and people who have a broader sense of thinking and a broader sense of self and of purpose and know how to actually amplify not only their life but yours as well, I don't think that you ever really fully reach all of your potential. And so I think that it is crucial to plug yourself into some type of mentor, some type of group, some type of mastermind. I know that you and I just finished a wonderful Zoom that we talked about earlier about an amazing event that is coming up in just 10 days. And, Zena, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what that particular mastermind that we are going to be doing is going to be about?
Oh, well, it is absolutely very exciting. And Miss Rebecca is our hostess, our MC, our I guess that was what you would call mistress of ceremonies. That's what I was trying to think of. What's the word? It's not masters because you're a mistress of ceremonies.
I answer
So
to a lot of things, Zena. I answer to a lot of things. So just let it fly and I'll go with it.
so it's going to be so much fun. So Amplify Your Life absolutely is Women's Summit is about the vision is about amplifying our lives as women, to amplify our purpose, our clarity, our hope, our marriages, and there's just so many aspects of our lives as women. We live in a world that there's a lot of pressure uh, on us as women. The expectations can be so high, and sometimes they're even just the expectations that we put on ourselves, not even that the world has put on us. But we can get to a place where we can feel very defeated and discouraged, and why even bother? Because I'm never going to meet that standard or whatever it is that we have in our heads. But the reality is that no matter where we're at in our life, whether we feel like we should have been further along, which I think most of us feel that way. Most of us in our life feel like we could have achieved more by this time of life and blah, 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 because we have so much expectation of ourselves. And then when it doesn't happen, we can beat ourselves up and feel like, okay, there's just I don't even know what to do now. And so Amplify Your Life is about coming together as women, and one, absolutely gaining some tools and strategies to bring our life to another level, to a new place, to move on from where we at to something more, I guess you would say, something that you look forward to. There's something that we
Hmm.
know deep inside that there's more, but we sometimes just
Yes.
don't know how to get there, right? And so, like you had mentioned about how important it is to have mentors, and masterminding with each other, because there is power in fellowship. There's power in being in groups, because as you speak and share with one another our life experience, like no matter where you're at, there's always somebody who can say, wow, I didn't know that. Like there's somebody that you can teach.
Hmm.
No matter what place or position you've been in, there's always somebody that you can teach. And there's always somebody that you can learn from. And and I think if we can remember that, then we're always
Mm.
going to progress, right? Because
Yes.
if you get to the point where you're like, okay, I've arrived and I have nothing else to learn, and I'm not going to show up, I'm just going to stay in my home and just, be a hermit the rest of my life. Well, you're kind of cheating yourself, because you've got something to give somebody else, first of all. But secondly,
Yes.
I think until you take your last breath, there's always something to learn. So this is an exciting event for sure, Rebecca. And I want to know, we're so excited to have you on as part of all of this. And we've been planning this for quite some time. But I would like to know, why is it that you decided to come on this vision along with us? Because this is the first time that we're having this actual event. So this is our inaugural event here.
I love it. And just piggybacking off of one thing that you said there, um, when you become that hermit, because I think that in life there are times where all of us, like, we shrink ourselves because we have been disappointed. We maybe set a goal for ourselves and we didn't achieve it. Maybe we were going towards something and it just didn't happen. Maybe we got the degree, but we hated the career. Our expectations were out of whack. And so I think that it's very easy to get stuck whenever you get burned, so to speak. You go and you touch a stove, it's hot. You're not going to touch that stove again. You set a goal for yourself and you don't achieve it, you don't want to set another goal. And it's very easy to get stuck and to lock yourself into that place, that thinking, and that time. And it's so important to push yourself beyond and become your own disciple of discipline. And that is the hardest part. And that's the hardest work. And that is why it's really good to, like, put yourself into mastermind communities so that you can pull yourself out of that. And if you look at everything as a failure, look at it as failing forward. Okay, I didn't really make that, and I'll use myself as an example. Whenever I first went to hair school, I went to hair school from 2005 to 2006, and then I graduated in 2006, sat for my boards, passed the boards, and now it's time to do hair. Except I was never really trained in, like, certain aspects, like really cutting around the ear. And so my mother was the first person that I have these brand new shears. I almost didn't take clients for like my first 6 months. And I'm not even joking, because I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm licensed, but then I had imposter syndrome. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, this was the internal dialogue that was going on within me. So I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. So I was like, Mom, like, we're going to give you a little bit of a new haircut. And so I went to, use these brand new shears and cut around her ear, and I cut a piece of her ear off. Thankfully, it was just like a little piece of skin. But Zena, she started bleeding all over the place. And then I was like, oh my gosh, we used so many paper towels, stopping the bleeding. And then we did not finish the haircut that day. We came back a few days later to finish the haircut. But I say that to say, had I let that stop me from ever cutting short hair again, I would not be the stylist that I am today. And even though I am no longer behind the chair in my own salon anymore, I am still a licensed cosmetologist. And I still have people who are like, nobody ever cut my hair as great as you did. And most of them were all short haired clients, because I let that one mistake, that one really bad thing that, thank the Lord, it was my mama, because she was mad with me. She was upset. She was hurt, but she was like, it's okay. It's okay. We can work through this together. And so, to your point, where you get disappointed. You're going to have some type of thing that stops you, that knocks you off the horse. But you have to get around the right people who encourage you to get back in the saddle. And, amplify your life is exactly that thing. And your question was, why did you choose to become a part of that? And for that, the answer to me is simple. Because if you are the smartest person in the room, you need to find another room. And if you think you know everything and your way is right, then you are all wrong. And it's up to you, and it was up to me to choose to push myself and to get in other rooms with people who are smarter than me, who have different perspectives than me. Because if you don't ever really expose yourself to that, then you're never really able to mine that diamond within yourself, and you're not able to help others mine that diamond within themselves. And so I see certain things in all of the people who are involved in the Amplify Your Life Women's Summit that inspire me, that make me want to be a better person, that make me want to help them create more impact. And I want them to help me create more impact as well. So I am in the Amplify Your Life Women's Summit because I'm all about creating impact with the right people. And the team that you guys have put together um, is truly an impactful team. And I'm beyond excited to be a part of it.
Oh, wow. Well, everything you said, you were jam-packed with so many gems in there. I love it. Get in a room that you're not the smartest person so that it can elevate you even more. And that you're mining diamonds, not even just within yourself, but in others. I love that. That is amazing term. And as far as the women that are coming to this, and a couple of men, so I don't want to leave out the men either. There's a few.
Yes.
I think God really hand selected these men to be a part of this. What's really beautiful is that the majority of us were actually trained by Tim Story. You had mentioned Tim Story just a little bit earlier, and he is talking about mining diamonds. He is absolutely very gifted at mining diamonds out of people, obviously himself first, and then and in other people. And so I feel like when you make the comment of this is a dynamic group, I have to give the I guess kudos to where it belongs. And it was Tim Story and Coach Burt that really probably mined the diamonds out of this group right here. And so it is pretty exciting to see what's going to happen as we come out to shine. And the other thing too, Rebecca, which is interesting because I did just mention that we have a few fellas that are in this women's summit. And I know there have been questions, from them as well as other women like, well, why would you have men at a women's summit? So Rebecca, when
Yes.
when you look at in finding the queen in you, when we're looking at mining that diamond, finding the queen in you, uh, do you feel that having a man perspective, having male input, having male influence is just as important as having women influence your life?
Without hesitation, 100% yes. Because women have their own energy and men have their own energy. And when you bring those energies together in the right environment with the right purpose in mind, really magic happens. Because women sometimes we tend to get ourselves stuck in our own ways much more than men do. And men historically are great leaders. And sometimes we need the men to unlock a thought process because they think about things completely different and much less emotionally than we do. And sometimes they're like, there goes the earpiece. And sometimes they are like, okay, consider it from this angle. You mentioned Coach Burt and Tim Story. They both very much do that. They're like, okay, I like where you're going with that. Have you considered this angle? And that is what a man's energy brings into play there. And do we absolutely need to have a man there? No, but the thing is this group and this particular summit would not be the same without the messages that these men are going to be bringing, because we do need their perspective. And we do need their nuggets that they are going to be sharing with us. And it's the power of partnership. And when the female energy comes with the male energy, like I said earlier, it is such a symbiotic relationship, and really, really impactful things happen whenever you bring both sides of the spectrum to the table in a learning environment.
Mm. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. I love, you know, how you've been able to really just express that so fluidly, because obviously this must have been a thought that has been within you for quite some time, because it just came out so eloquently and so
Mm,
well stated. And I agree. We live in a culture that I think many times the culture tries to say we don't need men to achieve.
oh,
We don't need men to
yes.
fulfill us, right? And so we've gotten to the place where I think the value of men have become less than it should be. And the truth of the matter is that we are all on equal playing field as far as worth and value. God created us equally, is that, but He created us differently. But I think
Hmm.
we've spent our time in humanity being frustrated with the difference, and we think one is better than the other, and that's not necessarily true. And I like that you said you use the word symbiotic, and there's so much truth to that. In the symbiotic relationship, that means each party is not the same. In order to have symbiotic energy relationship, that means you both have to have something different coming to the table. And
Yes,
yet,
100%.
our culture, tries to tell us, no, we want to be just like a man. We can function just like a man. We can do all these things. And I say, what's wrong with being a woman and being fulfilled and being okay to say we need men? There's nothing wrong with that. Now, clarification, I would say we don't necessarily need a man to do great things. I mean, that can achieve, and a man doesn't necessarily need a woman to do great things, but the
Hmm.
together part, you can
Yes,
excel, right?
yes, yes. And you know
And
what?
go ahead.
Yeah, to that point right there, Zena, I think the most important thing that comes to mind whenever you just said that is that a lot of women look for a man to complete them. A lot of men look for a woman to complete them. The symbiosis only happens whenever you are complete and you are whole in your femaleness, your womanness, your womanhood, and you have a complete man that comes alongside you, and you form a powerhouse partnership, just like a skincare formulation. You work with ingredients that are symbiotic. They create symbiosis, meaning that individually they are good, but when you bring them with something else, they are great.
Mm, yeah. Wow. Powerfully said. Hi, Yessie. Thanks for being on here. Yes, go Miss Rebecca Black. She is
Yesy, hey, we love Yesy. Yesy's going to be at Amplify Your Life as well.
yes, we couldn't do this without Yessie, that is for
I
sure.
know.
So, absolutely, she's actually quite a powerhouse person herself. She's just so full of life and kindness and love, and so we are so grateful to have her be part of Amplify Your Life for sure. Rebecca, I love this discussion, and so tell us, you have been married for how long now?
So 7 years, 7 years. Oh my goodness. Yes. Since the end of 2016 until now. Now we're
Wow.
working on 8 years. We're entering our eighth year. Isn't that so exciting?
This is so awesome. It's awesome because looking at you, you are a high achiever, and you have a husband who's also a very high achiever as well. And so I love when you talk about the symbiotic relationship, and you run your own business. So tell us a little bit about the business that you run, but also how the marriage and supporting each other falls into play when you're running the business, because sometimes that can be tricky. Marriage itself can have a lot of challenges that we have to navigate through. And
Mhm.
within the 7 years, it was a lot of getting to know each other and learning each other's language and understanding one another. And but then you throw, starting businesses, and you guys are always moving and going. So that's like probably like two ships passing in the night sometimes.
Yes.
What does that look like for you, and how do you maintain a successful relationship and a successful business all at the same time?
Well, I think more than anything, we are both very secure in ourselves. I don't look to him to complete me, to fulfill me, or anything like that. I cherish my relationship with him, and he does not look to me to fulfill him either. We are both very content in our own identities. And you know what, Zena? I honestly think that a lot of that comes from another form of mentorship called counseling therapy. I know that I did a pretty extensive stint of therapy in the beginning of 2016, and how I entered my relationship with my husband now is much different than I would have entered the relationship in the beginning of 2016. And so I think that it bodes to the point that you have to get around the right people. And in creating a successful relationship that also has a business component, at the end of the day, Zena, I am a very, very, very feminine woman. I don't want to be, I don't need to be this big, huge national star. I don't need to have all the power. I don't need or even want to work super, super, super hard, to where it's like, you never have time for that relationship, because at the end of the day, like, that is my priority. Because if I don't have a happy home, then I'm not going to be happy in any other aspect of anything it is that I am doing. And so we both very much are comfortable in our own skin, and we both are great communicators. And if he feels like, Rebecca, like, you're spending a little bit too much time on this project, I do the same with him. I'm like, okay, I feel like you're spending a little bit too much time on that project. We both take care of the house, the division of labor. When we went into the relationship, it was one of the first things that we discussed, like, what is it that you expect of me inside of the household? What do you expect? And so whenever you lay that out, then you can't get mad that you are doing all of the laundry, because that was an expectation that was set. Now, if you start doing the laundry every day and you went in with an expectation that you only needed to do like 3 loads of laundry a week, or maybe you only needed to do your laundry, then that's when you can come to the table in a very adult manner and say, hey, like, let's talk about the laundry situation. Like, I was expecting to only do 3 loads of laundry a week and we're up to 9. Like, how can we work on this together so that this is more of a team effort? And so whenever you approach it like that, it becomes a whole different ball game. And then on the business side of things, I'm always like, hey, I'm thinking of growing in this way. I'm thinking of adding this channel. What do you think? And genuinely taking what he says under advisement. I'm not taking it personally. I don't get upset by it. I don't get too excited about it. I just take it into advisement, and then I pray. And then I'm like, okay, so this is what I wanted. This is what he said. Where am I supposed to be in this? Like, what doors need to open? How can this happen for me? Who can help me make this happen? And that then extends the power of partnership into the power of partnering with groups.
Wow, that's so awesome, and I love, that you said you did the work even before coming in, and I love that you have mentioned of how you've got to be a complete person first before you can have a healthy relationship. Jim, thanks for being here. So glad to hear he's got a heart on here, so he's loving this conversation right now. Uh,
Good.
oh, Jim says he loves it. Open communication, both listening. Question: if you were to describe your relationship as having a nature, what would that be? In other words, it's our relationship's nature to be dot dot dot.
That's a good question. So it's our relationships nature to be, I would say, like, open and honest, and we both walk in our own purpose. and we just like we have a great intimate connection with each other, and we both are, just like I said, we're great communicators. It's like, okay, this is jiving for me, this is not jiving for me, I don't want to do this, I do want to do this, and we're both great at compromise. We're both great at compromise. Neither one of us need to be right all the time, neither one
Mm.
of us. And it's so funny because like there are some times where I'm like, hey, go get this, and he's like, are you bossing me? And I'm like, yes, I am bossing you, and my apologies. I need groceries from the grocery store, and I am going to be in meetings for the next 3 hours, and I will feel stressed getting these and making sure that we have dinner at the time that we expect to eat dinner. So if you have the open time, would you please go to the grocery store? But it's all about communication, and it's all about compromise. And if he wasn't who he is, I don't know that, and if I wasn't who I was, I don't know that we would get along as well as we do. So our relationship's nature is, it's open, it's honest, it's communicative, and it's intimate.
That's beautiful. Beautifully said once again. Jim, so Jim, speaking of masterminds, Jim and I actually just met uh, at Ken Wall's and Glenn Morshower's Momentum Masters event. And you want to talk about a phenomenal mastermind group. That is absolutely one. And so that's where that question came from, because Glenn Morshower talks about how it really is in our nature, and sometimes we have a momentary lapse of forgetting who we actually are. So sometimes when we're
Mm.
stuck or things that aren't happening, it's because we have a momentary uh, problem of remembering of that nature of who we actually are. And so when you speak of things, it's good to speak of, it's in my nature to be this dot dot dot, it's in our nature to do this. And so it changes, as you know, it changes that thought pattern, that mind shifts.
Yes.
And so it can change everything when it perspective. Yeah. Whoop, whoop. It was great. So, yeah, it's powerful for sure. I love hearing about this, Rebecca. So the business that you're in, so you are still a licensed cosmetologist. You're no longer cutting hair, doing hair, styling hair. So what are you doing these days?
So these days, I am still formulating skincare because I went from behind the chair into the product development role, because I learned that there were some not so savory ingredients in a lot of the stuff that I was using. And so I wanted to create better solutions. And so I went into product development. And so I created R.Black the Brand, and I am a skincare formulator. I have an online shop with all of my skincare, with my makeup, with a few pieces of clothing, because food, fashion, and beauty, those are my things. That's my jam. That's what I love. And in 2024, I am shifting my focus to expand that just a little bit, and move the knowledge that I have into consumable pieces of information for the everyday person. Like my modern makeup guide is something that I get asked at least 5 times a week about a makeup tip. How do I do this? How do I do this? And so one day I was like, I need to turn this into like instead of answering the same question a million times over, is there something that I can create that would be able to help people digest this on their own? They can take it home, they can try it, they can have results, and then they can learn more about me, and they can feel more confident in themselves, because that's really what it's about. And that is what R.Black the Brand is founded upon, is merging science with confidence that you are already beautiful. I'm not trying to make over anybody, but I want you to feel more comfortable in your skin, your hair, your nails, your clothes, your makeup, whatever that is. I want you to feel more confident. That is the baseline of everything that I do.
You are such a smarty pants, formulating skincare and really providing such great ingredients in your skincare, because you really put the thought behind it. I know I've had you on American Dream Makers before, so we talked a
Mhm.
little bit more about the thought behind all of that, and it was so intentional what you have done with your skincare line. Yes, he says yes, love that. So everyone, you need to go to the R.Black. It's rblack.com. R.Black.
You can go to shoprblack.com. And if you are anyone who is looking to update your makeup game, you are just wanting to know how should I be doing my makeup right now? No matter what decade that you are in, you can go to rblackthebrand.com and you will sign up for the waitlist for a modern makeup guide that I am in the process of putting my finishing touches on. You will have the opportunity to submit one question that, if it is not already duplicated, it will be addressed inside of the modern makeup guide, because I believe in the power of community, and I believe that everybody needs to have time to have their questions answered. And so that is a special section that I am adding on to the modern makeup guide to make sure that I am answering anybody who signs up for that wait list. You have the opportunity to ask me a particular question, and it will be addressed inside of the modern makeup guide.
And
So
it's
either one of
sharp,
those websites, it's so
shop,
for
R.Black.
R.Black shop, SHOPRBLACK.com.
Okay. Okay. Got it. I'm going to put this up on the screen here. And show shoprBlack.com.
And that is it.
Is that correct? Yep. Okay.
That is correct. Yep.
That's oh, and Yessie, so look at that. She's such a rock star. She already put it into the comment section already. So thank you, Yessie.
You go, Yessie. You go, Yessie. Yes. And then the modern makeup guide to be on the wait list to get early access to that is rblackthebrand.com.
Okay. R.Black the Brand.com. Okay.
.com.
Get that one up.
You know, because yes, I think that at the end of the day, when you only go internal and you only really worry about yourself, I don't think that any of us were created to be like that. I think that teamwork makes the dream work. I know that it is a saying that we've heard a million times, and then you get the people who are like, well, what about the team member who doesn't contribute? Well, you're all gonna have that at some point in your life, and what it's really about is aligning yourself with the people that do the work, that can help you do the work, that can show you what it is that you need to be doing so that you can elevate any area of your life. There are people who consult with me in business in many, many, many different niches, everything from real estate to photography, salons, just people wanting to know, like, how do I communicate what it is that I'm doing in a more effective and a more efficient manner so that I can create more impact in what it is that I am doing. And if you don't surround yourself with people who are committed to personal growth, then it's really, really, really hard to ever get out of your own way, because you're only ever thinking your same thoughts. And like we said at the beginning, we all have blind spots, and you have to get around mentors. You need to go to masterminds. You need to read. You need to educate yourself. You need to not be the smartest person in the room, and you need to be open to other people's opinions. It doesn't mean you have to accept them. It doesn't mean that you have to adopt them. But whenever you can take someone else's perspective and you can kind of like marinate on that, you can pray on that, you can be like, okay, I see what they're saying. Okay, I could improve in this area. Okay, I could be doing this in a different way. Like, thank you for that. And so I really think that teamwork is such an important part of everything it is that we do. And I know that it's something that we are going to be driving home in a really big way at Amplify Your Life.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for absolutely sharing that aspect too, because you're right. Teamwork and contributing and all that is so ultra, ultra important. And how you view it and your expectations of all of that absolutely play an important role, and how we can help each other just become the better versions of one another. Because it is in our nature to be, kind and successful and loving and thoughtful. but sometimes life gets in the way and we forget who we are along the way, and coming around and being surrounded by others to like, oh yeah, I remember who that person is and I'd like to find her again.
Yes.
Makes such a big difference for sure. So absolutely go to rblackthebrand.com and get on that wait list, because that is quite a resource that you are putting together there, Rebecca. So absolutely do that for sure. Um, and then as far as Amplify Your Life goes, I've got the ticker running down at the bottom, amplifyyourlife.live. Also, the QR code on the screen can take you to the site so that you can go ahead and purchase the tickets, because that is actually just, gosh, I think you said it was 10 days and counting to the event. And that is in Charlotte, which Charlotte, by the way, is a beautiful, beautiful area. So if you haven't been there, make it a weekend, a girls' getaway. Come meet Rebecca. She obviously is a very phenomenal woman, and she's even better in person, I have to tell you. So this is great on the screen, but she's even better in person. Her hugs are the best, and her energy, is just out of this world. And so nothing but great things coming for this event. Rebecca, thank you for taking your time out of your very, very busy schedule. Really appreciate your time. Is there one more thing that you'd like to leave us with before we head out?
I think the thing that I would leave you with is just remember, you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. Get yourself around the right people. It will open your mindset. It will make you take different action steps. And I promise you will start getting better results in life. And so amplify your life.live, grab your tickets. There aren't many more left. Go ahead and grab those. If you're in the Charlotte area, North Carolina area, please, please, please join us. It would be my privilege to get to see you in person, to give you a giant hug, and to speak life into you and watch your next best chapter unfold.
Awesome. I can't wait to see you in just a few more days. Gosh, just a little over a week. So, Rebecca, I can't wait to see you. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week, and I will see you soon. And hopefully, we'll see some of the viewers here on there. And, guys, if you're listening to this, get the woman in your life a ticket to this event. Your mom, your sister, your wife, your girlfriend, get the woman in your life the gift of being able to go and be poured into and be surrounded, and to really have this day of uh, transformational growth. And so, thank you so much, Rebecca. I'm going to say goodbye for now, but I'm excited that I'll get to see you soon. So,
Thank you, Zena. It was a privilege.
thank you guys for tuning in, joining in, viewing in. If you found this to be of value, please share it out. What a wonderful message and discussion that we just had. Also, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to American Dreammakers, Zena Krogadal, on Facebook, Instagram, also on YouTube. So we will see you next time. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.